just something I wanted to touch on briefly was this idea of writing on an iPad. Now, I believe we've discussed productivity on the iPad in the past, but I think I think it's a lot of these things with the advances in mobile devices. It happens gradually, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh yeah, I could do that using that device. So back when I remember doing a blog post a couple of years ago on the old iPad I had, and it wasn't really, like I said, yeah, I could do it, but it's not really. I'm not seriously going to do it for extended periods. But now that things like Office is on the iPad, and as much as we might have not like Word or whatever, the fact is I know Word really well, having just used it for so many years, and the fact that it's on the iPad and it's really functional makes it, basically gives me a white screen with a cursor, and I can just type away with a good Bluetooth keyboard, and it becomes a very interesting mobile writing option, and potentially one that could be better than using a laptop going forward. I think just in terms of the functionality, there are still some issues around overall workflow. And I think we were just touching on that before we got on about the fact that, I might write a blog post for SciTech Culture and have no problem, writing it up in Word, but then actually getting it onto, the site, fixing up typos or rearranging things or reformatting or whatever, I'm still going to be going back to my Mac to do that. So that's where the functionality falls down still. And I'm wondering how much longer it's going to take before they finally work that one out.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think there's that aspect. And then I think there's the aspect of retrieval. It's all very nice to produce files if you're just keeping notes. How do you get them back? There's something about having a paper journal where just flipping through the pages seems to be better than typing into Spotlight. But you're right. I think this is a really interesting development, the ability to actually handwrite notes, and that will only improve. You'd hope that at some point though, you wouldn't need that second device to make sure that everything's in order.
Yeah, and just to, obviously state the obvious, it's not as if we're reinventing the wheel here. Obviously, people have been typing on iPads for years now, but in terms of our experience, I know for me, this is the first time I'm seriously looking at it, because it's a very distraction-free way of writing, because it's the iPad's one app at a time interface actually comes into its own advantage here, because it's just a white screen with a cursor and you're not distracted by anything else.
That's right.
Except for the, whatever Facebook messages or whatever that you get pop up. Make sure you switch all that stuff off when you start writing. But I think it's got some potential, and I think if Apple, and I think we've spoken about this in the past, that Apple really needs to do an iPad-only version of iOS that really takes proper advantage of the size of the screen and the processor and all of that to really make it a productivity device.
Definitely agree on that one. And but I think we're seeing a lot of these things come about, and who knows, even with some of the developments now around machine learning and AI, what other things will come out of this as well.